You're welcome to follow along with me. So again, let's create a new file, and let's give it a name, listdemo.py. So we can initialize a list. Let's say it's better for me and quicker to initialize something, an integer type of list. So ages, let's say we have 12, 14, let's say 17, 27, or 20, or let's say 65. So this is the list, ages. Now what I can do is add a new element. Okay, so what let's say comment adding new element at the end. So what we can do is ages dot, how can we add at the end? With the help of append method. So when I write append, and I can add a new value, let's say 56. Okay, so first of all, before I do that, let's see the current status of ages, and I can print the value. And the next one is ages after adding element at the end. Okay, now I can execute this code, python 3 and list_demo.py. So you can see ages initially was 13, 14, 27, and 65, and when I appended a new element 56, it added a new element 56 at the end. Okay, I may consider inserting a new element. Let's say the current state of the list is now this 13, 14, 27, 65. So maybe if I have to add, let's say 50, I would consider adding it 0, 1, 2, 3, third location. Okay, so let's say ages dot insert at 0th index. What do I want to insert? Let's say 50. Okay, and copy this thing and put it here. Ages after inserting element at 3rd index. Okay, now let's run this code again and see what happens. So we appended the element at the end. Now we inserted the element at 3rd index, which is now 50, 13, 14, 27, 50, 65. Okay, so this is the procedure of adding or growing a list. How can we remove the element? So suppose, for example, if a student drop out of any course and you want to remove them. So so there are two ways of removing any element from the list. So first of all, removing an element from at the end of the list. So what I can do is ages, or maybe removing element from the end, or at the end of the list. So ages dot there is a method called pop, and when you execute this method without specifying anything in the parentheses, it would remove the element from the list, remove the last element from the list. Okay, so pop method not only removes the element, but it also returns the value of the removed element. Okay, so this is often confusing when a term called return is used. So when I say return, do you remember we discussed just yesterday when we were talking about the functions? So functions, when we have a return statement, it returns a specific value, right? Remember that? And if you do not have a return statement, what does it return? It returns something called none. Okay, so when we are talking about here, we are not specifying anything. It would remove the last element and it would also return it. So once the value is returned, what does it mean? If I do not specify, if I do not catch it in or assign it into any variable, then it will be considered lost. Okay, so if I run this, let's say print ages after removing, or maybe updated state of ages, I can have this like, I'm just now trying to, okay, so updated state of ages is 13, 14, 27, 50, 65. You can see 56 has been removed. Okay, but it has been removed and we lost that removed value. In many instances, we might need to use the value that is removed. So what we can do is, so when we execute this function on the list, it would remove and return the values. I can actually catch it in a variable, let's say removed element. Okay, so whatever returned would be stored in now remove element, and I can check the value of print removed element and removed element here. Okay, now let me clear the screen and try running it again. Now you can see here, this is the updated state of ages. 56 has been removed and 56 was actually stored in the remove element variable. Okay, now this is a way of removing the element from the end of the list. What if I want to remove any specific element placed at a certain index and a specific index? So what I can do simply is specify the index of that element. So let's say we have added the element at the third index, and maybe next I can consider removing that element which I just stored at third index. Okay, so let's clear the screen and see what happens. So this was the state of the list. I removed the element placed at the third index. So third index was 0, 1, 2, and 3. So 50 was removed. Now this is the updated state, and you can see the removed element was 50. Okay, so this is how you can perform certain operations like adding an element in the list, removing the element from the list. Any question here? If not, I would jump back to the slides. Why is it not displaying? Okay, maybe because of this. Yep. Okay, so removing elements, we have already discussed this. mylist.pop, we have pretty much discussed everything here, so I will not go into the details. I have also included the examples in this slide, so whatever I have just done in a live demo, first of all, it is recorded in the videos as well as is included in the slides as well.